It's Monday, and as the world mourns a great icon when it comes to leadership all over the world in Nelson Mandela, we from the world of sport as well want to pay our respects to this great man who contributed a great deal using sport to unite the people of South Africa. Nelson Mandela passing on, during that period between last Friday's show and today's show, and we just pay our respects to him at this time. We all remember during 1995 when Nelson Mandela inspired the rugby team, the Springboks, to win the World Cup, which was hosted by South Africa. And, of course, also the South Africa 1996 Africa Cup of Nations, which South Africa won. Of course, the man has a lot to do with boxing. He fought as a heavyweight boxer back in the day. And many sporting icons from all over the world are paying glowing tribute to this great man. As we look ahead to what has happened in the FIFA World Cup draw, it's Ghana, Portugal, Germany, and the United States of America. In Group G is Ghana playing Germany and USA, who are regular faces or regular foes from this big stage, the FIFA World Cup. And of course, it is Portugal, the new foe, whom Ghana will have to face, in the group stages. Start bringing in your text messages. Remember, it's 1760, and it costs you only 30 Ghana pesos across the networks. Let's start talking. Ghana, Germany, Portugal, and of course, the U.S. Is Ghana going to be a third time strong over the United States of America? Of course, we will talk about our brothers in Cameroon. The Indomitable Lions setting up one date at the group stage with host Brazil. And of course, it surely is going to be one great World Cup now that everybody knows who they're playing for the group stages of the FIFA World Cup. We'll also be bringing you some updates of what is happening in Brazil. We'll also be looking at what's been happening around the world of sport. Kumasi Asante Kotoko here in Ghana have stretched their lead at the top of the Ghana Premier League table and will surely end the first round of the Ghana Premier League on top. Of course, Arsenal also stretching their lead in the English Premier League. Olympique Marseille have sacked their coach, Eli Bob. It means that Andre Ayew and Jordan Ayew will be playing under a new manager very, very soon. These and many, many more coming through in the world of sport. Of course, Joseph Agbeko failed to win the WBA and WBO titles, super bantamweight titles, against Guillermo Rigondeaux. And Guillermo Rigondeaux had little trouble going around Ghana's Joseph Agbeko in that bout that was staged in the early hours of yesterday when it comes to Ghanaian local time. Of course, Joseph Agbeko is saying that his career is far from over. And, of course, let's see how it all goes for Joseph Agbeko. He says that his career is far from over, unlike other pundits are saying. So there's a lot to look forward to in the show. Remember, you can get on my Facebook wall. It's Nathaniel Attoh, Citizen Attoh. Let's get talking as we bring you everything from the world of sports this Monday here on the Joy Sports channel on Multi TV. The newspapers in a bit, but as usual, let's do some commercials. All right, so let's get into the details of the newspapers, and you can start sending in your messages to my Facebook wall. Like I said, remember, Asante Kotoko remain on the top of the Ghana Premier League table, same as Arsenal in the English Premier League, which is live here on the Joy Sports channel on Multi TV. Of course, the World Club Championship is starting off on Wednesday. We'll be doing a preview into those games, which you'll be looking forward to here on the show as well. So let's take a look at what is on the front page of the Graphic Sports newspaper. President Mahama says that Ghana needs a solid defense for the upcoming FIFA World Cup. There we are. So President John Dramani Mahama in a hearty handshake with Coach Kwesi Appiah, and he says that Ghana needs a solid defense. And of course, a former England coach is tipping Ghana and Germany to progress out of Group G ahead of Portugal and the USA. Let's see how all of that turns out. Ghana, USA, another time in the World Cup, and this is very, very interesting. Let's get into the inner pages, and of course, there we are. Agbeko blows another world title chance, and there we are. Guillermo Rigondeaux goes 13 fights undefeated now. And the subject is on Joseph Agbeko, who many thought was going to round it up if he lost this fight. But he says that he is far from done with the sport. And there we are, Joseph Agbeko, moments before proceeding to the ring. So Joseph Agbeko losing that opportunity. And this is the man, Nelson Mandela, who united the whole world through sport, especially his people in South Africa. Madiba Magic sweeps through sports. And there it is. Francois Pienaar, who was the captain of the South African rugby team, winning the Rugby World Cup in 1995, with inspiration from President Nelson Mandela. And of course, Neil Tovey carrying the Africa Cup of Nations, the 1996 edition, where, of course, once again, Nelson Mandela was key in inspiring the players. Eduardo Arantes de Nascimento, the world Pele, together with Samuel Eto'o, also there. And he shares a moment with world-renowned boxing promoter Don King. And, of course, Muhammad Ali. So that's Nelson Mandela, one great leader, there's no doubt about that, whose name is etched in the books of history. So there is a feature here on how Nelson Mandela used sports to heal South Africa. And this is written by Paul Kelso, who's a sports correspondent with Sky News. And now we also take a look at the FIFA World Cup draw and some action from Europe as well. Newcastle shockingly defeating Manchester United by 1-0. And Liverpool goes stronger and stronger. While, of course, the FIFA World Cup draw happened there in Bahia, in Brazil. And, of course, with World Cup legends like Fabio Cannavaro, Zinedine Zidane, Cafu, all participating in the draw. And, of course, a former England coach, Terry Venable, is tipping Ghana and Germany to progress out of Group G. And, of course, Ghana's former High Commissioner to Serbia and former FA boss, Dr. Nyaonya Otamaklu, says that Coach Kwesi Appiah holds Ghana's fate. Okay, so former England manager Terry Venables is backing the Black Stars to progress from that group, the group of death known as the Group G. Of course, Floyd Mayweather is set to be setting some benchmarks for his much-anticipated meeting with Manny Pacquiao. Of course, Eli Bob walks out of Marseille after 2 straight losses. And, of course, Liverpool are closing in on Arsenal. Mayweather sets benchmarks for showdown with Manny Pacquiao. The world has been waiting for this bout for a very, very long time. Let's see how it all goes. And Asante Kotoko also leading the pack there with 6 points now. Of course, major headlines from the weekend. Let's take a look at the 90 Minutes newspaper. And, of course, with the group, Jan says will shock Germany. And Zaha denies bedding Coach Moyes' daughter. There's a lot of controversy within Manchester United. And the football world mourns the man, Nelson Mandela. Of course, there are some images on the center spread with many other stories as well. And, of course, this is a sneak peek at all the groups for the World Cup, as well as how the sporting legends and the sporting greats spent time with Nelson Mandela. Of course, there we are, Asamoah Gyan, exchanging pleasantries with Nelson Mandela. who surely has inspired the world very, very greatly. There we are. Okay, so Stoke City beat Chelsea by 3-2. Very, very tough times, there's no doubt about that. Livorno and AC Milan drawing 2-2 as well. Paris Saint-Germain hitting 5 past Sochaux. And Bayern Munich beating Werder Bremen by 7-0. Bayern Munich surely on fire. And there's also a picture of Andre Ayew there, gradually healing. And of course, Coach Jose Mourinho is very, very mad at the misfiring Chelsea strikers. So there it is. These are the teams to see in Group G of the FIFA World Cup in Brazil. Who gets out of Group G? Those questions will surely be answered next summer. There's no doubt about that. Let's also take a look at the other pages. There we are. And this is the draw of dreams. And John Mensah says, we'll shock the world. Jan admits Ghana is in a group of death. And of course, Joseph Agbeko losing that opportunity to win a double world title status. Okay, so that's it for the newspapers. That's the Sports Filler newspaper there for you. Let's immediately go to what many of you may have missed last Friday for the FIFA World Cup draw, which happened in Bahia in Brazil. And of course, it was many, many nervy moments before everybody got to know who they were going to play in the group stages.
Positivity of the human spirit can overcome all adversity. Through compassion and caring, we can create hope.
On the 11th of June 2010, Grammy winner R. Kelly delighted Africa with the sound of a victory.
That's the sound of a victory. That's the sound of a victory.
FIFA President Sepp Blatter delighted soccer fans all over the globe with these words.
His Excellency Jacob Zuma to declare officially open FIFA's World Cup 2010 in South Africa.
I am honored and privileged to be given an opportunity to declare the 2010 FIFA Soccer World Cup open.
Spiwa Shabalala delighted South Africans with his left boot.
The goalkeeper's beaten, and South Africa have their first goal. Spiwa Shabalala has given South Africa a glorious moment.
For the next 30 days, Africa basked in the glory of its first World Cup. Ghana came close to reaching Africa's first semi-final, but the hand of Suarez dealt a cruel blow.
Ghana should now be celebrating. Africa should be celebrating a team in the semi-finals of the World Cup.
Eventually, two teams collided in the final, and Iniesta put a cherry on the World Cup cake for La Furia Roja as they won their first World Cup.
It's yours. Spain are world champions.
Becoming the 8th nation to scoop the most coveted trophy in world sport. President Sepp Blatter was all too impressed, labelling it one of the best ever. 3 years prior to Africa's first World Cup, Blatter's words were these.
The Executive Committee has decided unanimously to give the responsibility, not only the right, but the responsibility to organize FIFA's World Cup 2014 to the country Brazil.
Instead of the same chain of events which took us to Brazil for the first time since 1950. The Blue Samurai of Japan became the first team to qualify. They booked their place with a dramatic injury time penalty against Australia. Uruguay was the last. They made the semis in 2010, but battled through the playoffs against Jordan to become nation number 32 inked in for Brazil. Along the way, nations like Portugal needed a stellar hat-trick from Cristiano Ronaldo to put Sweden away in the playoffs and book their seat to South America. In Africa, Majid Mugera broke Burkina Faso hearts in the 49th minute of their final playoff match. They booked their place with a 3-3 aggregate. Only away goals counted against the surprise finalists in the Africa Cup of Nations. In 2014, Bosnia-Herzegovina will be the only debutants. Spain will seek to repeat a World Cup win for the first time since Brazil did so in 1962. The Brazilians will be looking for their 6th World Cup win on home soil. Que começar os jogos. Let the games begin. In the penultimate round of qualification for the World Cup from Africa, there were 10. Going to the World Cup next year, only the Big Five remain. In the process, the hopes of nations like Ethiopia, Senegal, Tunisia, Burkina Faso and giants Egypt were completely dashed. Left to fly the flag for the motherland are the Ivory Coast, outsiders Algeria, the talk of Italia 1990 Cameroon, 2010 success story Ghana, and current African champions Nigeria. In the qualifiers, Ghana were by far the most impressive. Any team capable of disposing of Egypt by 7-3 must be one high on confidence. Kwesi Appiah may have had an unsatisfactory Cup of Nations, but his side's World Cup pedigree more than makes up for it. They've reached the knockout stage of the last 2 World Cups. Had it not been for the hand of Suarez, the world of football may be viewing the potential of the West Africans in a completely different light. Look out for the names of Gyan, Asamoah, Boateng and Essien to do the continent proud once more. Africa's finest they may be, but the Ivory Coast are flattered to deceive somewhat on the global stage. They boast the names of Didier Drogba and BBC Footballer of the Year from Africa, Yaya Toure, very proudly. On paper and according to FIFA's rankings, they are Africa's best. In 2006, they were drawn alongside Argentina, the Netherlands and Serbia and Montenegro. 4 years later, they were in the group of death along with Portugal, North Korea and Brazil. Surely in 2014, the soccer gods have to be kind come draw time. Algeria are the dark horses and will be heavily dependent on talents like Valencia's Sofiane Feghouli and 21-year-old striker from Inter Milan, Isaac Belfodil. Cameroon are the lowest-ranked African qualifiers for Brazil. They booked their place at Tunisia's expense. Samuel Eto's new lease on life at Chelsea will almost certainly boost the indomitable Lions. But it's going to take deep digging from the other big names like Alex Song, Jean Moucon and Stephen Mbia for Cameroon to be the talk of 2014, just like they were the talk of Italia 1990. And finally, they may have had their off-field dramas and bonus debacles once more, but there's no denying the quality that comes from a harmonious Super Eagles side on the pitch. Stephen Keshi's blend of youth and experience and his faith in homegrown talent delivered Nigeria to the Africa Cup of Nations title. The boss will want to forget about their 2010 campaign and evoke the spirit of 94 and 98, where the Super Eagles soared into the knockout stages of the World Cup. Important to note in terms of Africa's aspirations is that no team has ever won the World Cup coached by a man not native to the team lifting the trophy. Of the 5 teams from the continent, only 2, Kwesi Appiah and Stephen Keshi, were born in the nations they are managing. With 6 months left before the Festival of Football in Brazil, Africa is pleading, can it stay that way?
Brazil need no introduction. Argentina are the current South American champions, and they have a fellow called Messi. Chile are regarded as amongst the most improved teams in world football. Colombia, Los Cafeteros, are 4th in the latest FIFA World Rankings. Perhaps underrated Ecuador, seen as another emerging footballing nation. And Uruguay made it via the playoffs to complete South America's challenge. Asia's quartet of representatives are led by Australia. The fashion tone of the game is amply reflected in Iran. Japan, co-hosts in 2002, will be as competitive as ever. And Korea Republic return to the world stage yet again. Could an African nation win the World Cup for the first time? Algeria will certainly be hoping so. Cameroon, the indomitable Lions, will seek to emulate the heroics of Roger Miller and co at Italian 90. And there are a few more consistent performers than Cote d'Ivoire. Continent's flag bearers in 2010 unlucky not to reach the semi-finals. And finally from Africa, the unpredictable but hugely talented Nigeria.
Netherlands, Chile, Australia.
Just
Group
recapping
C,
on these
Colombia,
groups.
Greece, Côte d'Ivoire,
Spain, as you see,
Japan.
they had a Group B.
Group
Netherlands,
D,
the toughest fixture for
Uruguay,
them.
Costa Rica, England, Italy.
England and
Group
Italy,
E,
as an
Switzerland,
opening game.
Ecuador, France, Honduras. Group F,
And
Argentina,
I think
Bosnia-Herzegovina,
without doubt,
Iran,
Group G
Nigeria.
is the one
Group
that
G,
people would
Germany,
have wanted to
Portugal,
avoid.
Ghana, USA. And Group H, Belgium, Algeria, Russia, Korea Republic.
So now we know.
I have total confidence in my players, and I believe that we give them a really good game.
Well, you agreed that you're certainly one of the favourites when it comes to the African contingent. And now having seen the teams that you're drawn in there, your realistic chance of making it through these group stages?
Oh, I believe that totally. There's no way we will not make it. We will make sure. The most important thing is making sure that we prepare very well. And no matter what teams comes your way. Football is of age, and not like before. You need to mention 4 or 3 names, and then everybody is scared. We've got competent players, and I have total confidence that we'll go around the first stage.
And a final word to all the Africans that are watching and obviously supporting, having known who you're going to be facing off with, just talking about the preparations and that Ghana is going to give it their all.
I think all Africans need to put their total support and prayers and anything that they can do to be behind the African teams, so that it's important that African we prove that given the chance we can also win the World Cup.
Well, let's have a look at Group G and what faces.
Okay, so you saw England's manager there, and will England be able to leap beyond the group stages? One very big question there. But let's go ahead and do some more stories on the World Cup and the reactions that are coming through. And Clint Dempsey, striker for the U.S., says that the U.S. will end Ghana's dominance at the World Cup when they clash in the Group G opener. The Stars and Stripes dream of progressing to the quarterfinals in South Africa was shut by the Black Stars. Now, the U.S. lost 2-1 after extra time and tasted their second defeat in a row to Ghana after losing by the same scoreline at Germany 2006. And also, Tim Howard is looking forward to a defeat of Ghana at the FIFA World Cup. Now, U.S. goalkeeper Tim Howard is preaching vengeance ahead of their opening game against Ghana at the World Cup finals in Brazil. Now, the Everton first-choice goalkeeper was between the sticks when Ghana eliminated the Stripes and Stars at the last World Cup. Now, the Ghana striker Samojan struck in the first goal at the first half of extra time to send the Stars through to the quarter-finals. Howard says their painful elimination is still fresh on their minds, and that will motivate them to beat the 4-time African champions in Natal on June 16. And we also take a look at Hugo Almeida, who is showing a lot of respect to Ghana. And the Portugal striker has expressed his respect for Ghana ahead of the 2014 World Cup meeting in Group G on June 26th in Brasilia. So That game will be played in Brasilia. And Portugal already putting the plan together to see how possible it will be to beat the Black Stars. And also, skipper Asamoah Gyan has been talking about the FIFA World Cup, and he says that Ghana will make it out of the difficult group, including Germany, Portugal, and the USA. The Black Stars will be facing their old foes in the next World Cup in Brazil, and Ghana will have to account for a talented Portugal team led by Cristiano Ronaldo, who many believe is currently the best player in the world currently. Okay, so let's also take some more reactions. Analyst Christopher Apuku has been talking about Ghana's draw for the FIFA World Cup in Brazil, and he's been talking about how possibly Ghana could perform and what the expectations are, here in Ghana, outside of it, and what the realistic projections are.
Look at this, and initially the first thing would be it's going to be Germany, Portugal, but look, the Portuguese, for me, of all these three matches, will potentially be relatively the easiest of the three. I'm telling you, because it's easier to identify the threat that Portugal will possess and nullify it. With the Germans, it's an all-round team, which is why we need to win the battle in midfield and try and slow them down. USA is going to be one of the most physical encounters we're going to encounter. For me, I think it's probably going to be the toughest of the three. I mean, people would argue and say, why are you saying USA is tougher than? It will be tough because they know us like the back of their hands. They've met us twice and we've beaten them twice. They want revenge. It's going to make things even more difficult for us. But that is the game we need to win. If we drop points in that game, we should forget about it. We need to cut out the supplies. Pure and simple. You see, going to play against Argentina and say you're going to focus on Messi is the equivalent of dodging an AK-47 bullet and landing straight into the sights of a bazooka. You'll be murdered because if you look at the supporting cast, they are going to run straight through. You have to study the team and know the team as it is, and then try and see where you can cut off the supplies. And I've mentioned Moutinho and Nani as the two most crucial supply lines. Mereles should try and fight and break up play and try and pass. But the two most creative outlets will be Nani and Moutinho, and we need to do the work on them. If we can, it could render Ronaldo near useless in a match. Because for all his talent and for all his skill, he needs the supply. If he doesn't get the supply, what will happen is he's going to drop into midfield to try and get the ball. And if we're able to press them as hard as we can, they can lose the ball and we can go. Yes, but for some of us, it's strictly about the football. And I think people might call England the spiritual home of football. I call Brazil the spiritual home of football. And it's fantastic that 63 years after the World Cup first took place in Brazil is going back there, and Ghana is a part of it. And Ghana has been referred to as the Brazil of Africa back in the day. So it is brilliant that Ghana is going to be there. So I think for some of us, for others, going to enjoy the sites, maybe what we call extracurricular activities. I don't know whether you will be involved in that when you get there, but in truth, it's going to be more about the football, I believe. Volker Finker has done a brilliant job. When Attoh almost tried to cause a stir with certain comments he made after the first leg against Tunisia, he brushed it away and they've been able to qualify. Now what Volker Finker needs to do is to try and bring the warring factions in the team together, the Song faction and the Attoh faction. If he's able to combine them and they are able to work with one purpose, I strongly believe that this is a group Cameroon can qualify from. I believe it's probably a Brazil and Cameroon qualifying from this particular group, in my opinion. They have a talented squad, but sometimes when push comes to shove, they are unable to take advantage. I mean, 2006 and 2012, they failed to win the African Nations Cup. Now is the last chance for the Didier Drogba generation. If they can do something, I believe it will be the first time they would qualify from this particular group. I think that Colombia, Greece, and Japan, virtually on the same level, to be honest with you. And so this is a very good opportunity for an African team, apart from Ghana, to make it to the second round, in my opinion. I think the Group B, Spain, Netherlands, Chile, Australia, that's the group of death. It's a straight qualification for Uruguay and Italy. England are simply not good enough. The first game is against Argentina. Do not forget that it was an Argentinian side containing Oscar Ruggeri, Jorge Burruchaga, Claudio Caniggia, and Diego Maradona itself that came up against Cameroon. And with 9 men, the indomitable Lions triumphed. So anything is possible. I would say that Nigeria probably knows Argentina like the back of their hands. And Keshi will be quietly confident that he can get this team through the group, but Argentina have to be careful.
We also go to former Asante Kotoko and Tema youth coach Isaac Opele-Boateng, a former columnist in the Graphic Sports newspaper, who also has thoughts on the draw of the FIFA World Cup.
Are not fit to play within a space of 2-3 days. You understand? That's why he's saying let's rest 2 of our best and then maybe use this side. But then it will be a big gamble because you need a 3 points to give you the edge. Like I said, we also have to beat the Americans. It's going to be an interesting group. In 2002, USA beat Portugal 3-2. And I'm told the Americans also do well against bigger opposition during the World Cup. You see, so that's why I'm saying that we will have to look at our realistic targets. At least if we can beat the US and then, like Chris said, a draw against Germany, fine. Then we'll have to see how we'll do with Ronaldo and his team.
And I believe we can.
My only fear with the Portuguese side is that if we meet them, then we need to have intelligent defenders on that day. And unfortunately for us, we don't have a world-class defender now in our team. Unlike those days when we went with John, they were not world-class, but at least they were good. Pencil with his height and his ability to play well, and then John Mensah, his ability to control the defense and read the game as well. This time we don't have that kind of players to use them. It depends on the authorities, how they'll be able to choose one of them, like you mentioned, for them to help us to be able to monitor them. But then I want to chip this one in. Chris, you know you follow the Division 1 Middle League.
Yeah.
This is like the Division 1 Middle League.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the fixture favors us. If we are able to take the first 3 points from the US,
I agree.
And Germany and Portugal comes up with a draw, we are gone. That's how the Division 1 Middle League is always for those who qualifies. If you win your first game and your 2 other opponents draw, you have the advantage over them. And even that one is only 1 team qualifying. This one we have 2. So to me, we should do everything to win against the States. I'm happy Chris has corrected me that it's 5 days interval.
It's 5 days.
We just need to have good technical bench with good medical team. I was calling for a physiologist, one who looks at the players' performance based on analysis, their fitness, how many hours of training each player needs, whether the person should be in the swimming pool for recovery. It's a very important section in the medical department. Yes, I learned it from Benitez. He said he's won his Champions League games by the help of a physiologist, not by a doctor or a mazwa or something, a physiologist. So to me, I think it will be a key factor here for us to be able to get the best out of the players. 5 days interval is very big for us. Beating US, like Chris said, drawing against Germany. I'll go for a draw against Portugal. You know, we last qualified with 4 points during our last World Cup. We qualified with 4 points. So even 5 points should not be bad. I will not call for more. Qualifying is the key factor here. As a coach, you just have to hope he gets his bad day. You get me? It's like having a team, West Brom against Van Persie's Man United. At times, you might have the tactics. You might employ a player to do a certain job on him. If the player who you ask to do that tricks on the player fails, you are doomed. So to me, I think all we have to do is to pray on that day Cristiano Ronaldo will not gel. Because Chris, you and I know if the man decides to gel, no one stops him. No one stops Messi. How many times have La Liga clubs tried their best to stop Ronaldo?
You see,
it's very difficult.
And you see, that
we
is
just
where...
have to believe on that day he will flop. Because his free kicks, he's a complete player. He can shoot from far. He can score with a free kick, score with his head, dribble, his goal pace, everything. I think this is a group that we've also overlooked as that could be also ranked as a group of death. Because if you have Spain, the Netherlands, and Arturo Vidal's Chile alongside Sanchez, these are 2 good players who are doing so well in Europe. One for Barca and one for Juventus in the Italian Serie A. To me, it's going to be a tricky group. I cannot predict, because the Netherlands, until the last World Cup that they did well to get to the finals, they used to behave like the Ivorians. Come to a tournament with all the euphoria and everything. They come up and they don't do anything. So I will expect Chile and Spain to go through. Uruguay, they've won the World Cup twice on the South American soil. 6 times have they won it. 6 times have they hosted it. 2 for Argentina, 2 for Brazil, 2 for Uruguay. By all means, Uruguay will qualify. Luis Suarez, alongside Cavani and the rest, they will have to qualify from this group. I learned Italy did not do well in the last World Cup in South Africa. They went out early. England, they've conceded because they're talking about heat. That's Chris home. They always give excuses and the rest. I would love to see Uruguay and Italy go through.
Beating Cardiff 2-0, and Liverpool winning by 4-1. Southampton beat Manchester City, while Chelsea lost 3-2 at Stoke. And of course, Norwich City beat West Brom by 2-0. Sunderland and Tottenham clashed, and it was Tottenham who smiled away with the biggest and the loudest cheers. Let's now take a look at the table, and this is it. Arsenal there with Liverpool in second position. Only they are 5 places away, Liverpool, Arsenal. And, of course, Chelsea also has 30 points. And, of course, this is the first part of the table. Let's now take a look at the remainder of the table. There we are. Fulham not having too good a time. Tied on points with West Ham United. So let's now take a look at the table, the Barclays English Premier League table. And the same scoreline for Hellas Verona versus Atalanta. Sampdoria winning 2-0 at Catania. Chievo Verona picking up that 1-0 result as Sassuolo. Livorno beating Lazio by 1-0. And of course, AC Milan and Livorno, AC Milan, Livorno, 2-2. And Udinese and Napoli thrilled the fans to a 3-3 drawn game. And Juventus, of course, beating Bologna by 2-0. And we continue with the table. This is what it's looking like. 3-point lead with AS Roma gradually picking it up there. They actually have a superior goal difference of 3 and now need 3 points and more to overcome Juventus, who are defending champions in the Italian Serie. Let's take a look at the last parts of the table. There it is. And, of course, we also take a look at Livorno, who are there at the bottom. Let's see the final 2 teams, and it's Catania and Bologna. All right, so we go back beating Schalke by 2-1. Kevin Prince Boateng will not be too happy there. And, of course, TSG Hoffenheim beating Eintracht Frankfurt, while Augsburg, they beat Hamburg by 1-0. Stuttgart beat Hannover 96 by 4-2. And, of course, Werder Bremen, they lost to Bayern Munich. It was 7-0. And Bayer Leverkusen also beating Dortmund, while Nuremberg and Mainz drew 1-1. Let's also take a quick look at the table, and this is it. Bayern Munich, and they've got 41 points, while Bayer Leverkusen have 37 points, 15 match days played. And Borussia Dortmund will be in 3rd place now. A 10-point gap between Dortmund and Bayern Munich there. Okay, so let's also go into the second part of the table by Braunschweig, just enduring and picking up a few points there. So that's the second part of the table. We now go to the French Ligue 1, where the news coming in from the French Ligue 1, of course, is that Elie Bopp is not going to be in charge of Marseille anymore. He's been given the sack after Marseille got yet another loss. Remember, that's the score there, 1-0, suffering 1-0 against Nantes. And, of course, that is at the Stade Velodrome. Not too pleasant for Marseille. So Marseille would have to get a new manager. Valenciennes and Guingamp drawing 1-1. Stade de Reims beating Nice by 1-0. Lorient beat Stade de Rennes by 2-0. And also this is the table. Paris Saint-Germain maintain the lead up there. And Lille on 36 points in second position. Monaco there. Nantes, Marseille, Bordeaux, Stade de Reims, Saint-Etienne and Guingamp. Okay, so this is the second part of the table. Okay, so we take a look at the Copa del Rey results as well. Let's see what's happening in the Copa del Rey when it comes to the matches played and the results recorded. There we are. Real Betis beating Lleida by 2-1. Elche and Villarreal drawing 2-2. Real Sociedad and Algeciras CF drawing 1-1. Sevilla and Racing Santander. Sevilla beating them by 1-0. And Barcelona beating FC Cartagena by 4-1. Valladolid and Rayo Vallecano drew goalless, while San Andreu lost by 4-0 to Atletico Madrid. Getafe and Girona drawing 1-1, while Celta Vigo beat Athletic by 1-0. And Olympique Marseille, Real Madrid and Olympique, I beg your pardon, drawing goalless. Let's come to the Ghana Premier League, where Asante Kotoko maintained their lead at the top of the table. Now they stretch to 6 points lead. These are the results from the last matches played. Of course, with Hearts of Oak and Aduana drawing 2-2, Edubiase and Dwarfs. Also, Edubiase FC and Dwarfs drawing 1-1. Asante Kotoko beating Midiama by 4-1. I mean, that was professionals. They won 2-0 against Interallies. And Interallies, their troubles never seem to end. Hazakes, with an improved performance, they beat Kimfaisal by 2-0. Bechem United beating Bechem United and Ashanti Gold drawing 2-2. While Heart of Lions Heart of Lions beat Wa All Stars 3-2 away. While Brecum Chelsea, they beat Liberty Professionals by 1-0. Let's take a look at the table. And of course, there it is. After 14 match days, is Kotoko on 33 points, stretching to 6 points against Hearts of Oak in second position. Ashanti Gold on 26, Heart of Lions on 24, Midiama on 22, and Hazakes, Bechem United, Aduana Stars, and New Edubiase there in that order. All right, so these are the last, round of teams in the Premier League. And, of course, Inter-Allies have not had a good campaign coming into their very first appearance in the Ghana Premier League. All right, so now we get into some boxing now. And at the weekend, there was Joseph Agbeko in action. Not the best of news coming out of that bout because he lost, and it was 1-2-0-1-0-8 on all the three cards of the judges, meaning that Guillermo Rigondeaux dominated him throughout the 12 rounds of that world title fight stage in Atlantic City in New Jersey. Well, Joseph Agbeko, he managed to land this fight, and he says that, well, now he's focusing on his career. His career is not over yet, but, well, on Saturday he was just unable to get a solution to the hard-hitting Cuban Guillermo Rigondeaux, who gets to retain his two titles, the WBO and the WBA Super Bantamweight titles.
I'm seeing it, and I don't care about what anybody says. All I care about is I care about myself, my health, and my family. So I'm not thinking about them. I don't even know those people. All I have to do is go back to the gym, work hard, and come back. I lost one of the greatest fighters in this world. He's one of the best fighters and one of the most defensive boxers. He's very good. He's not a bomb. I didn't lose to a bomb. I didn't lose to a fighter who doesn't know anything. I lost to a fighter who is very strong, who nobody wants to fight. And I was the only brave one who, took a step to fight him. I took a risk to fight him, and I went to the ring, and it couldn't work well for me. If it should have worked, everybody would be share the joy with me. It couldn't work for me, so I don't care about what people say. We're going to get back to the ring soon.
Right, Joseph, going into the bout, did you underestimate this man? Did you get to realize that he was much better when you got into the bout itself?
No. I knew very well who he is. I knew he's very, very good. I knew he's strong. He beat me to the name, you know. He fights for his 2 times Olympic gold medal. So, you know, he's been in the ring for long. He knows the ring. He knows how to fight. So, he's not a bomb. So, I know he is a very good fighter. I know who I was going to fight. So, I knew he was very good, and I took the chance to beat the best fighter to become the best. But it couldn't work for me. So I couldn't achieve that.
We look at the scores of the judges, 128 times 3. Do you think it really reflected what happened in there? That sort of score they gave makes it look like you were totally dominated.
Yeah. I don't have any question against the verdict. You know, I went inside the ring. I fought. You look at me. There was nothing on my face. Nothing shows that I fought last night. I'm playing. So. He threw more than I did, but everything was into my guard. I protected myself, so the punches couldn't touch my face. Everything was into my guard, but he threw more than I threw. I couldn't throw more because I wasn't getting him to throw, and he's a very good counter puncher, so I always have to be careful before I throw because I can't just throw like that. Otherwise, he's going to counter me. I can't allow myself to be countered and drop or knock down or something. So I protected myself well. I did what I have to do. So that's the verdict, and it's good. I know I lost, and I'll come back.
Are you thinking immediately of anything like a rematch or something? Would you want to fight him again?
No. I fought, I lost. I need a team fight. 1 or 2 team fights to get myself back on top. So I've been in so many top fights for some time now. So I also need some team fights to get myself back.
We've not heard from you since you joined Mayweather's camp. Tell us how's the experience been like, and what are you learning new there?
Yeah, I went to camp in Vegas. I joined the Mayweather boxing distance. I decided to go on the silence because I knew the fight I was going to is a tough fight, a big one, and I just want to be focused. So I stayed away from everything I could. Be focused. It was a experienced person with Roger. He's a good coach, very experienced. He taught me what he can tell me. I went to the ring. I did what I can do.
If you look at the record of Rigondo, he's had a lot of amateur bouts. We don't have that system currently running in Ghana where you have a lot of amateur fights before you get into professional. Do you think we are missing anything along those lines?
I don't think we are missing anything. We're just doing what we can do. You know, amateur boxing doesn't feel too good in Ghana. So why the guys waste their time and spend too much time in amateur without making no money? You have to go to professional to make money. So people need money to take care of themselves. So if the government is supporting and they're making good money.
Okay, so you saw that was a previous fight between Joseph Agbeko and Yoni Perez, but he was speaking to George Attoh Jr. of Joy Sports from his base from New Jersey before going to his base in New York. And let's do a few text messages. Prince Nana Brown-Gazy says, Mr. Attoh, Ghana has to start preparing by playing first-class friendly matches. God help Ghana. Abode Ibrahim says, if you want to know how hard C. Ronaldo and Pepe can be, then ask Kweju Asamoah when Juventus played Real Madrid in the UEFA Champions League. But we need to do something since the week Ivory Coast drew with South Africa at 2010. Okay. Ashes Ali says, Ghana will surely let its competitors at the World Cup regret a regrettable regret. Inshallah, people have been calling Arsenal landguards, but when at all did the real landlords come? Ghana's forever. Okay, he's talking about Arsenal there. Jedu Emmanuel says, I hope Ghana will sail through from the group stages and we are unstoppable. Kudos to Asante Kotoko and to Liverpool fans. Suarez is on fire, the best striker in the EPL. Frank Kwekusafu Drake says, Mourinho should start doing something about our defense. We want to continue. We don't want to continue conceding silly goals. And for Ghana at the World Cup, we'll qualify because we seem to be doing brilliantly when we are written off in tournaments. So the Germans and the Portuguese shouldn't count their chickens yet because we'll have to do a reality check. And then Nat Bismarck, Chelsea, Edu says, Nat, I think our group is tough, but it is a very good test of our capabilities of winning the ultimate, and it's a revenge time against Germany after their narrow win in 2010. As for Ghana, Germany in the round of 16, Ciro and his Portuguese side will suffer an early exit from the tournament alongside USA. Eric Do Kukuson says, surely our great Black Stars will shock the world and shock the world one more time. And what matters is let's prepare very well and take every match seriously. Okay, Idris Yusuf says Ghana's group is really tough, but we also need to be equal to the task. We just have to pray for injury-free situations and concentrate on our strength and make use of any available opportunity to improve on our weakness, and we'll surely make it. Okay, so those are some of the text messages. Let's now do some NBA highlights before doing our moment of the day.
The season. It would go according to script for the first place Atlantic Division side, as they outgunned the Knicks by 34 points to 11 in the first quarter, going on to half-time at 58-31. The remainder of the game would follow suit as an overall team performance from Boston, as opposed to individual brilliance from Carmelo Anthony, saw the men from Massachusetts prevail by 114 points to 73, winning their third game.
Okay, so there we are. That was a game in the NBA. Let's also now take a look at the moment of the day. Before that, let me say thank you to all of you for staying tuned to the show. Remember, there are major build-ups to the FIFA Club World Cup here on Joy Sports. Begins on Wednesday, and you'd have to join Joy Sports, the new Joy Sports presenter, Ruth Africa, together with seasoned analysts as we bring you match by match, and we see if Africa can really conquer the world in the FIFA World Club Championship for the very first time. Okay, so you have to stay tuned to Joy Sports. You stay tuned to the show, football show later on today, as George Attoh Jr. brings you everything from the world of sport and also brings you some updates on Ghanaian players abroad. Okay, so Morgan De Sanctis gave a very, very beautiful save in the Roma-Fiorentina game in the Italian Serie A. That is our moment of the day. Until then, thanks to the whole production team. Thanks to all of you. Wednesday will be our next stop. My name is Nathaniel Attoh, and I have love for sport.